So if you're wondering how you can trade things like NAS100, US30, SPX500, but you don't know a US-friendly broker that will let you do that, this right here is the video for you. I'm a US citizen, obviously you can tell by my accent. And as a US citizen, how can you trade these things? If you want to trade the S&P 500, many times you might see, for example, people pulling up US30. How can you trade US30? Well, I'll tell you one thing right now. If you see people trading US30, it's because they're trading on an unregulated brokerage. Let me back up. If you see someone in the US using US30 or trading US30, they're doing so on a offshore brokerage. And let me just say, I am a big proponent against that. Do not trade on an offshore brokerage because an offshore brokerage does not have any sort of third-party regulatory oversight that protects you in the situation that the brokerage goes under. Long story short, if you have your money in an offshore brokerage and it goes under and it walks away with your money, you have no way to get your money back. And that is a huge no-no. We don't want to be taking 100% risks on our capital. So what do? We trade on regulated brokerages. And that is, long story short, there's a link in the description down below to WeBull, which is the broker that I personally use to trade indices. And here's the thing, when you trade indices and you're looking at something like SPX500, US30, or NAS100, those three things that I just mentioned are what is called CFDs. CFDs are, long story short, for US clients, we can't trade them. They offer some sort of leveraged product that we are not allowed to use. That is not within the realm that the SEC and all the regulatory oversight in the US allows for US clients, okay? That's up for debate whether or not they should have that say on whether or not we, as free Americans can gamble our money or not. But the point is, currently, I'm just showing you the solution that I have, okay? So what is the solution? We can't trade CFDs, so we can't trade US30, we can't trade NAS100. So what can we trade instead? You can trade ETFs, exchange traded funds. If you've never heard of them, then they are essentially on the stock market. You can trade reflections of the same vehicles. So for example, the most notorious one in the whole wide world is SPY, which tracks the S&P 500 ETF. And you can see I'm actually trading it right now on tradingview.com with the broker that's linked in the description, WeBull. So WeBull allows you, again, to trade on a regulated US brokerage, and you can trade these things. Now, what's the downside? Well, you're not going to get that crazy leverage that offshore brokerages offer you when they're really not supposed to be offering you that in the first place. They just kind of do it low key. Again, if you want to play that Russian roulette with your money, then that's on you. But in my opinion, I trade with regulated brokerages like WeBull. And again, I can trade all of the same vehicles without taking 100% risk on my money that the brokerage is actually trustworthy. A lot of people have been burned by brokerages, and if you think you're exempt, if you think your brokerage is trustworthy, then that is a gamble that you are willing to take if it's an offshore brokerage, right? Onshore brokerages, US regulated brokerages, have some level of protection. Now, with WeBull and with any other one that you may choose to use on the stock brokerage side to trade things like SPY, you definitely should do your due diligence and look into the regulatory oversight that each one has. So let me just get that disclaimer out of the way. But S&P 500 is SPY. Check this out. QQQ is the NASDAQ. Suddenly I have the NASDAQ in front of me here. And this is, again, it's trading shares instead of trading lot sizes. So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit of an adjustment. If I, for example, wanted to buy shares of QQQ, which is essentially buying the NASDAQ, I could create an order directly in my trading view here, and I can actually buy shares. Now you'll see I'm trading units, so I'm actually trading a number of shares. So if it was $400 a share, let's call it, for QQQ, and I bought 100, and suddenly I am buying $40,000 worth of that stock. So obviously you need a little bit of money there, but Heads up, WeBull does offer margin accounts, so you can actually trade with more capital than you do have. Now, disclaimer there, margin is risky and you can lose a lot of money just like you can with any sort of leveraged options, but that option does exist for people who are looking for it. So again, you have margin accounts with WeBull, but you're just gonna have to make the adjustment as I have to trading ETFs. Now, the other side is you can also trade futures, and I'm not a fan of trading futures personally. It's just not a market I like to trade as much. I find the process of contracts and such just not as easy, not as straightforward as ETFs, which again is like typing in a stock ticker and trading the stock ticker that represents the S&P 500, the QQQ, which is the NASDAQ, and finally we got our third one, DIA, which will show you the US30. Now you'll notice this is not nearly as high of a price and as volatile as the CFD US30, but it does reflect the same thing. Take a look here. If we take a look at the US30, the price movement is the exact, well, very close to being the same price action moves, just on an ETF variation. And again, still trading under a US regulatory oversight. So again, the link for WeBull will be down below in the description. If you'd like to sign up with them, you do get free shares when you sign up using my referral link down there, and you'll be supporting my channel. So heads up, it is an affiliate link. You don't have to use it, but I very much would appreciate it if this video was helpful to you in any way, shape, or form. I hope you have a great rest of your trading day, and we'll see you next time.